just what's appearing to happen. Energy, inescapable, ungraspable, unknowable. Energy is all there is. It's nothing being everything, everything being nothing. And it may be possibly that there's a sense there of there being something happening and a you that it's happening to. So there's a lived sense of being a person. Turn that up a bit. There's a lived sense of being a separate person. There's a lived separateness, a sense of separateness, a sense of being in a body looking out on a world. And that's what's being shared here, is that sense of separation is a story. It's artificial. It's apparently real. When it feels like it's there, it feels absolutely real. It's a lived reality for the person who feels separate. It's a lived reality of feeling in the body, feeling that they have thoughts, they're my thoughts, that they have emotions, you have emotions, they're my emotions. I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm worried, I'm whatever. I'm hearing, I'm seeing, I'm talking. And it goes on questioned, really, this sense, this real sense that you're a separate entity. And that's been illuminated as artificial here. Just here, it's just a sharing, just a suggestion. That's all. This is not a teaching, it's a description. And that can resonate, and that can be heard, because what you are really is no thing. You aren't this separate individual person. It's all a story, and what you are is nothing being everything already. So as a person, what you yearn for is, and what you seek is, paradoxically already just simply whatever appears to be. So we'll see what happens, apparently happens with this. If there's a question, it's kind of there to be asked, really. You can't go right and you can't go wrong. It's simply a resonance.
Hi, Kenny.
Hi, how are you?
Tired. 6 o'clock in the morning.
Ah,
For me.
poor you.
Is the sense of being a separate person more artificial than the chair I'm sitting on, or the table, or anything else?
Well, the chair is just life chairing, and the table is life tabling. But when you feel like a separate person, it's a thing, it's an object called a chair and an object called a table. From this perspective of you feeling like a subject, everything becomes an object. It's not, it's simply energy tabling and energy chairing. So it's that.
And energy
It's
feeling like a separate person.
Yeah, so energy feeling like a separate person, but the chair doesn't feel, there's no sense of separateness in the chair or the table. It's just life tabling and life chairing, but the sense of it being an object is only from the sense that you're a subject seeing an object. So when there's no subject, it's seen, when there's no subject, then the object isn't an object anymore. It's the same, and it's indescribably different. It's just chair, as opposed to a thing, a chair that's an object, that's a separate thing. Because when you feel like a separate person, everything is a separate thing. It's an object to your subject.
Yeah.
Um, and like the difference can't be described, and in one way there's no difference at all, because everything is already just as it is, and it's artificial that you see it as an object. So everything is the same, and then it's indescribably different, just as in that way that if you, that sense of being a separate person collapses, or apparently collapses, what you commonly hear is that what I what was looked at was always, it's the exact same as it always was, but yet it's indescribably different.
Yeah.
So in the sense that
It's
what I'd yearned for always had never left. It had always just been simply this, very ordinary and obvious.
it's so untouchable.
Yeah.
You can't, nothing. You can't put anything on it. You
You
can't
know, it's
hold to anything.
completely untouchable, yeah. Unknowable, untouchable,
Mm. So
yeah. And
is
inescapable.
yeah. Is there a sense that there is no like boundaries where, let's say, your arm ends and the table starts?
Yeah, it's the same as before, but it's again, it's indescribable. I can't describe it to you, but
Yeah.
it's no longer. You know, people have an idea of what's being shared here. So then they'd say, "Oh, so is it that you feel like the table? Is it that you don't feel like the arm, and you feel then like that table over there?" That's just another idea. So there is
Yeah.
the life. There's the body, just the body, but that sense of being someone in the body is no longer.
Yeah.
It's just the body, and
It doesn't belong to
the
anyone.
thoughts are there, and emotions and whatever, and it's there's not some crazy kind of ability to, jump into what it feels like to be that cup over there, or to be that man over there, or that lady over there. These are all ideas or concepts people have about
Mm.
oneness and wholeness and everything. It's the same as it always was, and it's totally and utterly different too. And I can't
Yeah.
describe it. Nobody's ever been able to describe it, and it's extremely ordinary. It's just that there's just what's appearing to happen, but that feeling that it's happening, there's a you that it's happening to, is no longer there. And then when it went, and that is seen then that it was never really there. It was a story. It felt real that there was a you, that there
Mm.
was a you that had thoughts, there was a you that had emotions, or me, I suppose. There was a me that had emotions, there was a me that had thoughts, there was a me that sat on a chair. It was a lived reality. It felt absolutely real. uh,
Yeah.
um yeah. So, and then it will play out like it plays out. So if there's a sense of separation, that's what appears to happen. uh, and it
Doesn't
can be,
belong to anyone.
it doesn't, which,
Doesn't belong to anyone.
no, it's just energy. It's nothing to do with
Mhm.
anybody. It's simply
Yeah.
just, and it's just simply what appears to happen, and it's there till it isn't. Either on the physical death of the body, or before the physical death of the body.
Incredible. It's so unimaginable. Imaginable. Can't
Oh
imagine
yeah,
it.
like I mean, that's the amazing thing. People get into this thing called non-duality, and of course there is no such thing as non-duality, but they get into it and they develop all these concepts about what's being said, and you'd frequently hear then of people who are into it for maybe a short time or a long time, sometimes a long time, and then they actually apparently fall away, and it's hilarious because they said, I had all these ideas about not being there. I had all these notions that maybe even that I wasn't there, and about oneness and dualism and all of this, and it's all just rubbish. It's nothing to do, it's just an idea. If it's an idea,
Yeah.
then it's just an idea. That's all it is. It's just a concept. If it could be held as an idea or a concept, then it's obviously not it. If it can be held in the mind,
Yeah.
so it's totally beyond anybody's imagination, and at the same time is utterly ordinary and obvious, just simply whatever appears to be happening.
Thank you.
Thanks. Worth getting up early for it. No, definitely.
Sorry?
Worth the early rise.
Oh, yes.
I
I get up anyway, so it's good.
know. I'm joking. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, Shellen.
Hi, Kenneth.
Yeah.
I'm good. I have a question. Well, two questions, if it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
They probably go together. Lately, I've been feeling like I'm isolating myself from other people because I feel like I have it so good that there's like guilt around like privilege and like everything that's happening in the world, and I'm carrying this guilt around, and I don't know what to do about it.
Mm. Is that the
I don't know.
question? Sorry.
I guess the question is like, even though I think I know what you're gonna say, um, I don't want to avoid anything inside me, but then if there is no me, then the whole thing just becomes like a dog chasing its tail in my head, and I feel like taking mushrooms or something.
Yeah. Well, then taking mushrooms would be what would appear to be happening. If that's what appears to happen, then that's what would appear to happen.
I actually tried my first microdose last Friday, and it was pretty wild, and I don't know that I would do it again, but I don't regret it.
Doesn't sound like a microdose then, does it?
It was so
You
it was
sure it
so
was a
tiny.
microdose?
Yeah, I felt a lot.
Doesn't sound micro. Sounds
I,
macro.
I'm sensitive.
Mm. Anyway, if that's what appears to happen, then that's what appears to happen. It's no significance at all. None of that has any significance.
How do I know if I'm avoiding something?
You don't.
Mm.
If you're avoiding something, avoiding using non-duality, is it, or using this communication? Is that what you mean?
I suppose using non-duality, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if it's
Okay.
been used as a concept, then it's just a concept. Then that it's being used for some reason to avoid or whatever. That's just what would appear to happen. This is completely beyond knowing. There's no way of knowing anything with this. This completely pulls the ground from under you when it's really, really heard.
I feel like it has been heard, and then there's like a reassembly of
Yeah, maybe.
energy.
Yeah, maybe that sense of being a person kind of comes back and then has ideas. Then it would apparently come back. Like, it's not that the person really comes back, because the person didn't even really fall away, because what's being suggested is the person is never even there to begin with. It's artificial. And if there was a sense that there's just what's appearing to happen, and then there again seems a sense that there's someone that it's happening to, then that's just energy. That's just what's appearing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And
For
if
you.
and that could be whatever that is. Then, as you described there, sense of guilt about, I don't know, whatever privilege is the latest privilege that we should feel guilty about. We're being told all sorts of stuff to feel bad about, and then that's what's happening there. Then that's just an idea, then, or a thought.
When this happened for you, is it gradual or was it just
It
like,
didn't happen for me. You see, that's the problem. It doesn't happen for anybody, and it didn't happen. It's not a happening. So it's the person that lives in happenings. In there's a sense of being a person who's real in a world that's real, and moving in time in which everything is happening sequentially in a causal linear manner. Everything is real, living in the real, and it's all a story. It's an appearance. So that's the cruel thing about what's being shared here, is that actually it's not going to happen to anybody, because it doesn't happen. Not a happening. It's already the case that there's just energy, nothing being everything. This is already unconditional love, nothing being everything. So nothing happens. But it can be that sense of being a person just isn't there anymore. And then it's seen it was only apparently there. So it didn't happen it wasn't a real thing that fell apart even. It was an energetic appearance, and then it's no longer. This is completely impossible to imagine, because when you feel like a person, you sense that there's someone else there, and then there's something that happened to them, and it must be someone there for it to happen to, and so on, so on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you have tension in your body, or is it?
I don't have anything. I don't have anything. But tension could arise. Anything could happen, but it wouldn't arise for me.
Right.
So there's just this body here, but there's no longer a sense that it's my body.
Mm-hmm.
Like who would be there to own it?
Wow.
Who is, even if you think about it, who is in there that has the body? Who is in there that has a mind? Like we just completely take this for granted, that there's a me in here somewhere, inhabits the whole body. There's a separate self there, and that I think, I speak, I sit, I all the time, completely taken. Just a big assumption there is a me, that we're just it's definitely there. Oh, where is it? Show it to me.
I've never been
There's
able
no
to
there. Yeah, you're not speaking there now. Isn't that remarkable? You're not laughing. There's just laughter there. And there's just the head nodding. And you've never, ever been there. You never even started. So that's why you're never even going to finish. You're not there to finish. And there's no one anywhere else. There is no separation at all. Only the appearance of it.
Oh, this keeps going onto my headphones, and I don't even know where my headphones are. Sorry, let me turn my Bluetooth off. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The feeling of personal will, is that just an energy then?
The whole thing, all there is energy. That's all there is energy. So the sense of will, and the sense of doership, and the sense of free will, and all of these things, the sense that there's someone there who has choice, is all coming from the lived, contracted reality for the person of separation. It's a lived reality of feeling separate, that there's an outer and an inner. It's not an idea. It's a lived sense of separation. So all of these things come from that. The sense that time is real, that space is real, that there's cause and effect, that there's something really happening, that there's choice, that volition, that all of these things, the one after another, they're all just simply an aspect of the separate me, the apparent separate me. And there's no like, if they were in any way significant, then like when I do the talks, I would probably start going through them one by one, or even say, okay, today we're going to look at time, and we're going to illuminate how time is an appearance, it's real and unreal. And then tomorrow we're going to look at volition, and then we're going to look at causality, then we're going to, and all of these things. But it's not like that. It doesn't matter. It's there's just a sharing here from nothing, without any agenda whatsoever, and it's just something comes out here, and there's something, apparently a question, and it's that sharing. It's all energetic, and it's nothing to do with understanding whatsoever. And it may be that the question is about free will or causality or time or whatever, and then that's just what's, but it will all come back to a very simple illumination that there is no separate you. And when that sense of being separate apparently collapses, all those other things just float away. They don't need to be understood, or, you know.
And you never ended up in a psych ward. I'm afraid sometimes I'll end up in a psych ward. Yeah.
The beautiful thing, it's really lovely actually. The person feels that the whole thing is just going to go to complete shit without them. Like without the me. Like if I'm not running this gig, everything is just, and it's interesting that you say that. Like it is, being a person is a very linear, logical, kind of sane. It has to be living in it. It's in the known, you know. It's very important, and then having control of your life and so on. And there's a real deep fear of things like craziness, chaos, madness. You know, very, very scary to the me, because the me likes order, linear, progressive movement in the known. So the sense, I mean, and that's exactly what that's all about. Is this? It's the sense that if I'm not here, this whole thing just collapses. And the big joke is you're not there. You never have been. You never ever have been.
Yeah, and when the me is active, it's actually creating all the madness and chaos. Like,
yeah, it's a neurotic energy. Yeah. So the psych ward is, you know, it's full of me's really, and I mean, in a way, like it's this neurotic, heavy energy, and whatever craziness. Like life is. This is the scene that life energy is everything, and everything is nothing. So nothing is excluded then. You know, there's no it's the scene that it is chaos. It is chaos as much as order. It is lunacy as much as sanity. And there's the freedom then. That's the beautiful freedom for nobody. It's just whatever, everything, there's nothing that isn't it. As opposed to this sense of being a person who's, is this dualism of continually being, living in the ordered and the sane and the...
Yeah, things like finances or whatever, right? Like I'm not big into financial planning, but it's sometimes like, well, don't you have to plan, you know, stuff like that, or like
yeah,
your
but
job.
everything, you know, you could go through everything, every part of your life. You feel that you're there to do it, and if you're there, and if you don't do it, it won't happen. That's a very real sense the person has. So finances, so the job that's happening, the job is happening because I'm doing the job. And if this Kenneth character, what he says, if that sense of me falls away, I'm in deep shit, because that job's not going to happen then.
I work in mental health.
Yeah, well, there you go. The job's not going to happen, and then I'm not going to pay my bills then. So everything is going to go to shit. And it's really endearing. It's lovely, because you're already not there. You're already not there. I don't know how many times I could keep saying it. No, I'm not talking to you. This is just an expression. But people are already not there. That's what's being shared. You're already not there. I could keep saying it another 50 times. You're already not there. So the job appears to happen. It's incredible. You're not there doing it. You've never done anything your whole life. You're not there.
There's a resonance, and then the mind fights and says, well, how could I do a job that then it's just a joke? Like if I don't even actually believe what's coming out of my mouth anymore.
No, but did you not just hear what I just said though?
That I'm not, that there isn't.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just said, but that's okay. But then how can I do the job?
Just control.
That's why I kept repeating it over and over again. Because I knew it's just not, you know, you're already not there. So then when you say, okay, but how can I do this? Or how can I, there's no I there. There's nobody doing the job or not doing the job, or there's no individual there. So what appears to happen is getting out of bed, getting dressed, and going somewhere, and a thing that appears as a role in a story. That's an appearance. That's what there's nobody doing that at all. And it will appear to happen that way till it doesn't appear to happen that way. Nobody's ever done any job. But sweeping the floor and cleaning the toilets and being a Supreme Court judge appears to happen. And none of them are any significance, or none of them are any way more important than any other one. It's just simply a story. That's all it is. Just a story. And there's nobody in there doing it. That's the freedom. That's always there. The freedom is always, it's never gone anywhere. The freedom is already all that is, that it's just energy. There's just energy. There's no you there. Never has been.
And then ideas like self-esteem and self-worth probably don't even occur to you anymore because
it's all a story, you see. You know, I'm familiar with the language of mental health. I'm familiar with the language of psychotherapy. I'm familiar with the language of trauma. I'm familiar with the language of all of this stuff because this role has been in similar areas. I'm familiar with all of that stuff, and it's all a story. It's simply just a story. That's all it is, just a story. You know, and there's like that whole area is all about you know, self-worth and this and that, and you know, building up the self, and you know, it's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong or right with anything. It's what appears to happen. And someone could feel immensely unwell and seek the help of a mental health professional, and that's what would appear to happen in the story. You know, especially when someone gets completely you know, completely wound into this closed loop that is it's just not possible anymore for them to kind of dig their way out of it, you know. And that's when it appears in that whole area that it's like something on the outside it seems to kind of move things on a bit. You know what I mean? So like, for instance, one example is I've often heard people who suffered very serious depression, right? And I've heard some of them speak about it, and the way they described it was, it just gets more and more intense, and it gets the loop. It's a loop. It's a closed loop, and you keep thinking that you're going to think your way out of it, right? So you keep feeling that the solution is in there, in the problem, and if you can just find a way in that. But all that's happening actually is you're just feeding the problem all the time, and it's just this closed loop and loop, and then it can be seen that that's at that point then somebody can just completely break down, totally and utterly. I'm fucking broken. I'm fucking broken. I can't fucking do this. I'm fucking broken. And then that's the point at which, okay, you're broken, and we'll see. And then it's like the loop. Then it's outside of that then, because they don't. And then things can appear to energetically kind of come back again to some sort of balance. But there's what I'm suggesting here is that there is no inner or outer, and those things are things that appear to happen in the story. And what's interesting about that example that I gave is it very much mirrors for me that energy of the person feeding on itself continually, thinking that what they're looking for is somehow in that closed loop. And that's that whole energy going around, living in the known, continually going around in a closed, and continually thinking that it's around the next corner, it's around the next corner. It's something to do with how I am. I need to be more this and less this, and it's somewhere, it's something in the narrative of me, in the story of me, that needs to be fixed in some way. And then all of that does, if you really think about it, is just perpetuate the narrative. And what's been illuminated here is there is no you. There never has been. There is no separation. The loop is a story. It's an appearance. There's nothing to even break out of. You are nothing being everything. And that can just resonate, it can just be heard. So this, what's yearned for, paradoxically, by the person, what's yearned for, it's actually nothing to do with them whatsoever. But it's when you feel like a person, it has to be something to do with how I am. It has to be for the person. It's ridiculous. The person finds this ridiculous suggestion that what they're yearning for has nothing whatsoever to do with them, the way they think they are or they aren't or whatever. Because that's only a story. So if it's only a story, why would it have any significance?
How does love tie into this?
Well, love is something that appears in the story, which is a meeting of needs. Interpersonal love is a meeting of needs. It's not right or wrong. It's just something that appears to happen. The love that's referred to here, unconditional love, is unknowable, unobtainable, and already all that is. It's beyond understanding. It's the isness. It's the and is not. It's totally and utterly indescribable and completely unconditional.
And there's no badness in it.
Well, no, badness appears. It is everything that appears.
Right.
Bad and good are in the story of me.
Right.
Yeah. There's no badness in it, is the sense the person has that what we're speaking of is in somehow, this is the dualism the person lives in. Not that they live in it, they are that dualism. They're the dualism of good and bad and right and wrong. So they think that one is it and the other isn't. And there's this continual struggle of trying to find one and reject the other, pull in one and push away the other continually. And there, all of those, what's being shared here and suggested is the collapse of all of the opposites. And the opposites collapse when that sense of a subject, of a separate me, apparently collapses. Because that's the false center where the opposites arise as real opposites.
It's so convincing.
Yeah, it's totally and utterly real for the person. It's not an idea. It's completely real that I'm a real separate person in the story. And then this can be shared. And everything in the story feeds that. Everything feeds it. Oh yes, of course you are a person. Confirms it all the time. Everything. And that's what's remarkable about this communication, when it's a clear communication from nobody, is nobody's being spoken to here. That's quite obvious. It's very obvious. Nobody's been spoken to, because there is nobody. There's already nobody. There's just nothing being everything. So there's no me to be fed, and there's a boundlessness to that. You're being seen as unconditional love, as what you actually are. Thanks, Shaden.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Matt, hiya.
Hey, Kenneth. Can you talk a little bit about causality? Because this seems really, or acausality. It seems like one of the aspects of the description that is, more contrary to my experience.
The lived experience of the person is one of causality. Like the lived experience of a separate person is a living in causality, in the sense that there is a living in the real. So things are really happening to me or other people in a linear causal manner. One thing happens after another. The way I would look at causality is it's inextricable from time. Like time and causality we're really talking about the same thing actually. Mm-hmm. So that sense of causality, it feels completely real for the person. It really does feel that one thing causes another and leads to another and so on. Yeah.
In your system, I feel like there must be some aspect of belief in causality still, because you still do A and then B to get to C, like when you're getting dressed.
So that's an idea you have there that there's a person here that must have some sort of belief in causality, or else A, B, and C wouldn't appear to happen. So that's a concept there, that there must be some sort of belief here, or else it wouldn't happen. That's lovely, actually. That's really nice. So this is nothing appearing to happen. Nothing appearing to happen. But for the person, it doesn't appear to happen. It's happening.
There still seems to be like a correlation. Like, for example, you talk about an energetic resonance when people hear this message, and there seems to be some correlation between that resonance and people kind of, this separation falling away.
Yeah, but if you really listen to what's been said, and it's been said this past hour, it's been said over and over and over and over and over again, apparently fall away. Apparently fall away. I've said it every time. I think almost every time I said it, I said apparently. I don't always say apparently, but apparently fall away. And so there, it's that sense of separation is no longer, and what's seen is that sense of separation was artificial. It was never even real. So it's the seen by nobody that nothing happened. Nothing ever happened.
Okay. Thank you. I have one more question, and this is more on the space side of things. And when we talk about everything being energy, that feels somewhat almost physical to me. Like, in a materialist worldview, that would work. It's like, oh yes, a scientist could say everything's energy. So that like brings in this idea of space for me. And even within this like big boundless soup of space, or apparent space, there's different points of view. So like your point of view there in that with those senses is different than my point of view here with these senses. So that difference to me like implies, and it feels like the senses are here, and your senses are over there, and that because of that they're producing a different experience. And so it all feels like that there's space. Can you speak to that?
Oh yeah, that's what's happening there then. It feels like there's space and time
and different points of view.
Of course it does, yeah. If you feel like a person, it feels like there's space. And really space and time are just a continuum. So they're two aspects of the same thing, really, in a way. So
are there
that's what
different points of
appears
view?
to happen. For the person, it appears to be that there's different points of view. Is that you're asking me, are there different points of view? So there is energy, there is nothing being everything, which Kenneth's and Matt's and everything is completely and utterly unique. And that's the way it is. Every snowflake is unique. Every apparent person is unique. And that is nothing being everything. It's not, you're not going to be able to get your head around what I'm saying. It's not understandable, but you might get it. There might be an openness to it. But when there's a sense of being
you can see me trying.
Yeah, I mean, and it's that's what this is about. It's about, like, and I always say at the beginning, this is just a sharing, that's all. And if some sort of question comes up, it's just there to be asked. It doesn't matter. There's no intelligent questions with this, really. And there's no silly questions. It's all energy. It's just an energetic resonance. So there's a question, there's an answer. And it's what's being made clear is that it's not about the question or the answer. It's the person feels like there's an answer that will satiate her and that will satisfy her, that really feels there's an answer. And it's not that there's an answer, it's that there's no question. Because when that sense of being separate, there's no question really anymore. There's just what appears to happen. So from what you're describing there is you're saying, is there, those are the things that people feel as a person, that there's space, that there's time, that there's perception that's unique over there, and everything is unique, of course. But when the sense of being a person is no longer, there's everything is nothing is everything, and it's totally boundless energy, and the over there is only apparent. There's not really an over there. There's just what appears to happen, which is just energy. That's all. The over there feels real as an over there that's, a mile away, 2 feet away, 2,000 miles away, when I feel real here. That's everything. Then that's a living in the real, and time is really absolutely real. Space is absolutely real. Causality is real. That's the reality people live in then. That's the way it is. It's not, it goes unquestioned. And this is a suggestion of another possibility, that there's just what's appearing to happen. And if there's an openness to that, it can resonate, and that sense of separation can apparently collapse. And it's very, very obvious then. It's too obvious. What's being shared here is just too obvious. That's the problem. It's too obvious.
Is this something that anybody, if they were just kind of able to investigate their own experience closely enough, would be able to find out on their own, theoretically?
Completely, of course. Like, everybody is already what they're looking for. What's sought, everyone is already that. So this can be seen all the time, and is being seen all the time. Boom, boom. There's just what's appearing to happen. What I will find is that it can be seen by nobody, that there's no separation. There's just what's appearing to happen. Let's put it that way. That there's just what's appearing to happen. So everything is the same, and yet it's completely, totally different. And what I see often happening is, if that sense of separation appears to come back, there can then be kind of a confusion about, they feel that something happened, and then there's a kind of a searching then. Whereas with this is an illumination and a clarification and a kind of, okay. So what you'll often get with this is, there'll be this sharing, right? And someone will go, okay, 20 years ago, now I see, I didn't get anything. I didn't have an enlightenment, an awakening. I apparently dropped away. That's actually what happened. And you hear it all the time of people who something appeared to happen, and they have a big question mark over it, and then they'd hear something like this from here or from somewhere else that's clear, and they go, it's that moment. Okay. And anything can appear to happen. It can be that sense of separation can be just not be there anymore, and there might be not be any interest in any of this communication or non-duality or anything at all. So everything and anything can appear to happen.
Okay, thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you. Nice to speak to you. Hi, William.
Hi, Kenneth. Obviously, because the person feels unfulfilled, it's always waiting for the next good experience. And for me, because it becomes so important and there's so much investment in the next good experience to fulfill me, there's a huge amount of anxiety about, what if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't go right? And well, control is the word, isn't it? There's so much trying to control everything. What is it like then when there isn't anyone? Is there just no waiting?
No, they can't describe. Nobody can describe what it's like when there isn't anyone. It's like the question, what's it like when there is no one, is appearing to be heard, and is sitting on a chair, and there's looking out at the sky, which is just visible because it's now twilight is almost over. I mean, what can I say? Nobody can say anything because it's just what appears to happen. You can't say what it's like in the same way I can't say what it's like now. You know, there's there's a sense of earphones, there's talking, there's...
So there's no waiting for the next good thing.
Okay, there's no waiting for the next good
No,
thing.
no, I'm asking
Yeah.
you because for me, there's constantly like a waiting, like when's the next thing
Yeah,
gonna
well,
happen?
okay, that's what appears to happen there. Then what you described there is that's what's appearing to happen. And if there's anxiety, then that's what's appearing to happen. Anxiety.
Okay. So you can't say anything more, like when the sense of self drops, what the difference is.
Nobody can describe. Nobody has ever or will ever be able to describe what it's like when there is no longer a sense of being a person. All it can be is just pointed to, and an illumination of how ordinary and obvious it is that there's already nobody. It's not what you think it is. It's not what anybody thinks it might be.
I
And
think
you're already not there, and any ideas you have about non-duality or what's shared here are just simply ideas. That's all.
I think the other thing is because I'm always trying to find things to occupy my time, and just when there isn't anywhere to get to anymore and there's no longer a need to find anything, I suppose you've said there really isn't anyone planning things, so activity would still happen. But I guess because I think I'm motivated by a need to get somewhere, I think if that need wasn't there, but you've already said it to another person that they're already not doing anything. So I guess the sense of feeling like I've got to be motivated by a need is irrelevant.
Yeah. Everything you're thinking is irrelevant. There's just thoughts there. Thanks, William.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Andy.
Hi, Kenneth. Okay, so I've got an irrelevant question then. But the apparent paradoxes of duality that we talk about, the absolute absence of anything, which is also apparently everything, the appearance of everything, for example. Is there any sense there of resolution or resolve, that they are somehow resolved?
It is its own resolution. Everything is already completely, totally and utterly resolved, in the sense that everything is nothing and nothing is everything, and it's completely whole. It's complete and whole, totally and utterly.
You can't understand that.
There's nothing to resolve then. What would there be to even resolve? It's just everything is the appearance of, it's unknowable, ungraspable, unobtainable, inescapable. So there's nothing to resolve.
The mind cannot resolve the idea that it is everything and nothing.
Oh, the mind this is completely beyond the mind. There's nothing to do with the mind at all. It's nothing to do with the mind. The mind just churns out concepts and ideas, and it's fine. That's what appears to happen. But the person lives in the known, and they really feel that they, like there is some resolution needed, like you said there. It is this resolution of this play of opposites that one day they'll resolve, and then there'll be wholeness or whatever. Whatever. It's just all more ideas, more thoughts, more concepts. And
so this resolution is not a concept.
It's all within that loop of understanding, and the sense that there's that life can be known and is knowable. It only comes from a sense of being separate to it.
Can you just tell me again what is the resolution, or what is the sense of resolve?
I think I just did at the beginning.
You did, yes.
Yeah, I did.
Beg your pardon.
Yeah,
could you possibly help me just understand that?
So there is nothing to resolve, because nothing is everything, and this nothing being everything, everything being nothing, is whole and complete. There's nothing to resolve. So this, whatever appears to be happening, you know, speaking, sitting on a chair, whatever, a thought arises, it's not, it doesn't need any resolution, because it's in no way broken, or it's only within the mind of the person that something needs to be resolved.
There's no...
And it's the apparent play of opposites. So it's the apparent play of opposites. For the person, it's a real play of opposites. So the play of opposites needs to somehow be resolved. This is what's been pointed to for the last hour, is that whatever is appearing is, that's the resolution then, if you want to put it that way. So the resolution that is sought is not the resolution you think it is, which is invariably around the next corner. When I get this, when I get that, when I lose this, when I lose that, blah, blah, blah. This is already it. It's just whatever's appearing to happen. Yeah. It's very ordinary.
There's no resolving universal love. I don't know why I said that, but there you go.
You didn't say it.
But that's I didn't say it exactly.
There's another.
No, it wasn't me.
What about that one, huh? You didn't say it. That sentence just appeared to happen.
Thank you.
That sentence appeared to be spoke, and there's no meaning, no significance, no more than anything that appeared to be spoke here. Thank you. Nice to speak to you.
You too.
Who have we here? Oh no, I thought there was someone else. There you go, guys. Shinee, as we say in Ireland. I put an email out this week, but just if anyone is planning, a few people have contacted me about the meeting on the 20th and 21st of May, so it's in 3 weeks from last weekend. That venue is kind of limited in numbers, so if anyone is traveling, just make sure you book, because there's been quite a number of bookings, and if someone was traveling and it's when it's full, it's full. I'm not going to be able to get a bigger room there, so just so you know. Yeah, and that's the reminder. It's on the 20th. It's in Galway. It's in the city centre. Well, just a little bit. It's pretty much in the city centre. Easy to get to, easy to find. It's on the afternoon of the Saturday and the Sunday, the 20th and the 21st. And I'll put up a link then for the Zoom. I'm going to have a Zoom participation thing with it. You'll be able to join my Zoom as well, so however that'll go, who knows. She'll be okay, I'm sure. It's exciting to have to be seeing people again. It's so nice, real people. Thanks very much. Nice to see you. I think we'll see how it goes, and thanks to the response to my last email, I got a really great response and loads of ideas, and I think people understood that I was just simply trying to, I probably did come across like I was having a moan maybe, but I wasn't really, because it's just trying to find different ways to maybe for this to work in that way. And so I'm going to be rejigging the meetings a bit, and maybe doing different times, and probably doing more kind of half-day meetings, and maybe less of the free ones, but they'll still happen anyway, still appear to happen. So thanks, guys. Nice to see you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Kenneth.
Kenneth.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Take care.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Take care.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Thank you, Kenneth.